you traveled to Colombia to get inspiration for the film. What can we see of the country?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's true. Nice to see you, by the way. We about 3.5 years ago, we took our research trip to Colombia and spent weeks in the country. And we went everywhere. We went to Bogota, we went to Cartagena, but we also went to these little towns in the middle of nowhere, like Barichara, which feels like a town frozen in time. It looks the same today as it looked 100 years ago, and that was so important to finding what the setting of the film would be, because the Madrigal family is sheltered in the mountains of Colombia, and we're saying the film is in the first half of the 20th century, but the town of Encanto is really frozen in time, and so it was very important for us to absorb as much of we could of every part of Colombia to try to represent it in a film. And so, but
Yeah.
it's really been 5 years of learning. Go ahead, Jared, please.
Well, I was going to say, specifically, everything from the like many textiles you'll see in this movie. Like there's a soup there called ajiaco, and it's served in this pottery called chamba. That's this black pottery. You'll see that in the movie. Definitely food, from ajiaco to buñuelos to arepas. Lots of the food you'll see in there. All the fabric that you see on all of the characters, every member of the family, there's 12 members of the family, has a different outfit. Those outfits also, are taking inspiration from different regions within Colombia, and you see that fabric, even like down to like the tiles in the kitchen. All of those things, certainly the animals and the plants. I think going there is so important, because I think touching it is different than seeing it on the internet, and I think you really have to interact with it to know what it feels like. And knowing that we wanted our audiences to feel those things too was super important.
I think Encanto has a lot of magical realism in it. Were you inspired by any Latin American writer?
Absolutely. I mean, I think we really were inspired by magical realism, as you said. As Jared and I were starting to work on the script, I was reading Love in the Time of Cholera and 100 Years of Solitude and House of Spirits by Isabel Allende. And so we really were trying to absorb all of these stories and kind of get them into our bones as we were writing the script. Absolutely.
Part of the creation of the film was done during the pandemic. Was coronavirus a problem for the film?
Well,
Yes.
it's incredible. It was a big problem, because almost 2 years ago, everyone went home. We literally, the studio, we packed up our computers and our desks, and we took them home with us. And so this entire film was produced at home through about 800 different homes around our area, and it's amazing because it looks incredible, and our crew really did an amazing job. I think that we talked to our crew the other night because they saw the film together for the first time, and the amazing thing is that we really feel like we've gotten to know people even more than we would have if we hadn't been isolated, because through Zoom we see people in their homes surrounded by their kids and their pets and their families and all the craziness that everyday life is like, and learning things that we never would have known if we had just been worked together. So it was the separation's been tough, but I would say it really did bring us closer in the end.
Mirabel lives surrounded by special people, but she doesn't have any gifts. What can we learn from her?
So, yes, I mean, from the very beginning, we were really interested in this character who felt sort of other or slightly less than, or was kind of figuring out who she was in the midst of this group of incredible people. And one of the things that I love the most about this character is how relatable she is in a lot of ways, because I think a lot of us are surrounded by people who we just assume are perfect, or that they have these incredible lives. I mean, especially with social media, we just sort of see the sort of brightest moments of people's lives, and we know we kind of compare ourselves to that and feel like we don't measure up. But one of the things that I love about Mirabel is that she goes on this journey through the movie to kind of discover who she is, discover her true worth, and really is the character who is able to look at people with the most amount of empathy, and then finally is able to turn that empathy towards herself. And I think it's just a really incredible story.
Of the gifts that magical have, which is your favorite?
Well, I gotta go. I mean, I love animals. Love animals. So I would have to go with Antonio, because the ability to hang out with hundreds of animals all the time, and for them to be my friends and for me to know what they're thinking, I would definitely go with talking to animals.
I love cooking, and so if the things I cooked could also heal people, that'd be awesome.
I need to clean up my garage, and I have a lot of heavy stuff out there. So I would love some super strength to be available, like Luisa, if I could. So that'll be my choice today.
The Madrigals are a family in which I recognize my uncles, cousins. What role do you play in your families? Are you like Isabella, Camilo, Mirabel, somebody else?
Oh my gosh, you guys want to
Who
jump
wants
in?
to jump in?
I'm gonna go with I was the oldest sibling in my family and had a lot of expectations on me. So today I'm gonna say I was like a little in the Isabella camp, sort of the one who felt like she had to be the overachiever.
Yeah, I'd say for me, I had a lot of responsibility growing up. So I'd say Luisa for me feels about in my family that feels about right. There's a I weirdly I'm the middle child. I guess Luisa's kind of the middle child too, so that works out. But yeah, I have a lot of affinity towards Luisa.
Yeah, that seems right to me, Jay. That seems very strong. And for me, I think I was very concerned about trying to be a perfect kid growing up. So a little bit of Isabella, but I'd say honestly, in my family, I'm more of a goofball. I think to try to keep things light. So I'd say I'm maybe more a little bit like Camilo, where it's like a little more theatrical, a little bit like let's not argue, let's let's make jokes. I would think that's probably more in line with who I really am.
Thank you very much. I want to say that I love it, Encanto, and thank you for the film.
Oh, thank you so much. So nice to talk to
Good
you.
talking to you.
Bye.